This is me back in 2008 filming my first video. At the time, I was living out of a suitcase, traveling 300 days a year, teaching dating advice to guys in over 40 countries and documenting it on YouTube. And while that might sound like a fun way to spend your 20s, it was. By the time I turned 30, I was over it. Traveling every week for 5 years straight, basically broke because I was spending all my money on nice restaurants and drinks. And then on my 30th birthday, I had a true 30 life crisis. Sitting alone in some dingy Italian restaurant in London, I made a decision that changed my life forever. A decision that made me more money in 1 week for my YouTube channel than I'd previously made an entire year from my regular income. And it was the same decision that ultimately led to building the multi-million-dollar business I run today, where I help some of the top YouTubers monetize their channels using the exact same process. And while most of them have millions of subscribers, I'll show you how anyone can use the same process, even if you only have a few thousand subscribers. But before we get into that, I want to first talk about one of the biggest problems YouTubers face when they start gaining traction with their channel: monetization. So what is the best way to monetize your channel? Should you start a Patreon, sell some merch, maybe get a brand manager, affiliate sales? And the thing is, any one of these could work, but it gets a little tricky when you're trying to sell with YouTube. I'm sure you've experienced this because it's easy to come across like this sleazy car salesman, which is why I believe the best way to monetize your channel while building more value for your viewers and connecting with them on an even deeper level is by creating an online course around your content and then promoting it in a very specific way. Which leads us back to my 30 life crisis. At the time, I had about 30,000 subscribers and didn't really know what I was doing with my channel. And you have to remember, this was back in like 2012. No one was really selling online courses or anything like that. They were still selling actual physical DVDs and CDs. But over the years, I had a few clients that were these internet marketer types. And I remember one of them specifically was telling me how he was making $1,000 a day, even back then. And so I sent him an email asking for help. And I was amazed when not only did he respond and say, yes, he would help me for free, but he literally held my hand through the entire course creation. And that's exactly what we're gonna get in here today. So when I was starting off, I was obviously super excited to get into this. And I wrote down all these different topics, looking at old videos and going, okay, here's what I'm gonna teach in my course. And I remember showing this list to my new marketing mentor, and he politely shook his head and said,
"Wade, you're the expert. You know what your audience needs, but people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want."
I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but he said the best way to figure out what your audience really wants is by creating a survey with one simple question. And that question is, what is your number one biggest challenge when it comes to X? What is your number one biggest challenge when it comes to dating women, baking sourdough bread, producing music, playing guitar, whatever? And I still use that exact same question when I'm working with a client on a new course. And you'll be amazed if you do this with your audience, how great the ideas and the different topics that you get from this process. And this leads really well into step 2, creating a course that sells itself. So now that you have all these responses, what you're gonna wanna do is sift through all of them, look for really engaged customers or future customers, and try to find patterns of what their ultimate dream-like scenario is. You really wanna imagine what their life would look like after you finish the course. And this is what I call the transformation. And it really dictates everything when it comes to how you package up your course, from even the name that you use to the branding and how you organize each module in a way that leads them towards that ultimate transformation. Let me show you an example here from one of my clients who had the idea of creating a music theory course for producers. And so if you're not familiar with what music theory is, it's basically the math behind the music. And most people, when they think of music theory, if you know anything about it, you think of reading sheet music and classical music. So what we did, we sent out a survey, and when we read through the responses, the number one challenge that most of his audience had was just making melodies, making good sounding melodies for their beats. So we ended up calling the course Pro Level Beats and then position it as a course that will help you create an unlimited supply of new melodies, chord progressions, and pro level beats, which still ended up teaching a lot of music theory because that's how you create those melodies. But like I said, this is packaged up in a much better way. And of course, his audience loved it and it was a huge success. But even if you do listen to me and you package up your course perfectly and you focus on your audience's dream scenario, if you don't get this final step right, your course might still end up being a total failure and a complete waste of time. So let's dive into step 3, launching your course. Now, there are countless books, seminars, other online courses out there teaching only about launch strategy. And it's something that I plan to create a bunch of videos about around this topic very soon for this channel. But there are 2 things I just want to bring up here as the most important factors that will truly make or break your course. And so the first one is awareness. Does your audience even know you have a course? And while you might have spent months creating this thing, years thinking about it, all those stages, even you do this launch, you send out all these emails, your audience might still not even know it exists. And you know, what I found after launching dozens of courses in a variety of different niches is you can actually sell a lot harder than you think without pissing off your audience. And I'm not saying just spam them and talk about your course in every video, but if you've done a really good job of going, okay, what is that dream scenario? And the course actually truly delivers that, and you're really enthusiastic about talking about that transformation, your audience will actually be happy for you. And you'll even get people buying the course just to give back for all the free content they've watched on your channel. And now the final thing you need to guarantee a successful launch is giving them a reason to buy now. So what you need to do is think about a sense of urgency. What sort of urgency can you crank up without doing it in a markety or a salesy way? And the favorite way that I have for doing this with clients is giving some sort of expiring bonus where you give them some extra stuff for free that enhances the transformation and their dream scenario, but they can only get it during that launch. And so what I want to show you here is another example that we used with Kirsty Partridge. And so she was creating a course called the Colored Pencil Academy. And after doing those surveys, we found out her audience's dream scenario was creating realistic drawings of their pets and families. And so what we did is we created 2 advanced bonus trainings around these topics. And still to this day, we have people asking if they can just buy the bonuses, not even the course. And that's really when you know you have a good bonus. And it's just a great way to give even more value without coming across too sort of sleazy or salesy. All right, there you have it. 3 simple steps to successfully launching a course. And now obviously there's a lot more that goes into all this. And if you're interested in learning all the little details of creating a course and launching it successfully, then I'd love to have you like this video and subscribe to the channel, because that's exactly what I'm planning to do with future videos. And I just can't tell you how valuable this information has been for me in my own life. You know, that first course that I launched for myself completely changed my life. It was what allowed me to finally get off the road and move to this beautiful apartment in downtown Chicago, which is close to my family. And I even met my girlfriend that very first night I moved in. Now she's my wife. We've been together for 10 years. And I just can't tell you how much confidence it gives you when you know how to just turn the content that you create into income. It really feels like pulling money out of thin air. And to me, I believe it's the ultimate superpower. And so if you'd like to learn the exact strategy I've used to launch dozens of 6- and 7-figure courses, you might want to check out this video next. Enjoy!